Now I think I've got the audio going. Thanks for letting me know, Lily Bean. I think as I was moving things around, I unplugged my microphone. But we should be back. Just a second. Loud noise. Move the microphone in front of my face more. Okay. Let's, sound should be okay now. Ah! Very good. Sorry about that. Moving everything around, popped a wire. Adjust this. You probably need this better view. I just wanted you to see the Wacom tablet. For some reason, somebody was talking about Wacom tablet. Oh boy, let's get rid of that. Darkening it up. Loud and clear. Hi, Lily. Good, good. Sorry about that. And thanks for letting me know. Alright, let's take a look at this. And that was from our discussion earlier. Don't need that anymore. That was a cartoon from yesterday. So let's free transform. See if we can free transform Donald to be a little taller than Ted. I've got Ted. Little leany. Donald's a little wide. Is that enough to do it? Not sure if I like that. I'm gonna futz with a little more. No, I don't think I'll do it. Well, that was quite a big difference, wasn't it? Hello, Waterhawk73. Okay, let's do a little bit of free transform. Just about that much. About as much as I think it can take without getting screwy. And Cruz can come down a little bit at this point, I think. So let's move him down. Makes him look a little better too. Theo reminds us about Cruz's maple leaf to come. think maybe Cruz needs to be a little bit bigger as well. I'm gonna give him some stretch. This side. Free transform him this way. Give him a little matching width to the Donald. Donald's head too big. He is a big-headed kind of character. Could make the Donald a little bit taller. I could make his face a little bit thinner. Try that. I think that's a little bit better. Now they're both the same height, and we know that Donald is a little bit taller, but does that matter? I'm not sure it does. I think I'll go with this. He is a little taller. Oops. That's good. Gives it a little bit more air. Yeah, a little tighter. Deciding where my crop is going to be. These are all the standard things you do. Okay, let's put them there. Copy, new, return, paste. So there they are in position. And let's give them a little bit more contrast. Clean them up. Three Whapper. You didn't know about the maple leaf plan here? I probably should put up a sign. Daryl is going to draw a maple leaf. Alright. Image size. I like to do my line art at 1000 dpi and 8 inches wide. Height should be 5.75 for my standard hole, so let's do that. That should be unnoticeable and give me good dimension here. Alright, that's looking good. And I will save that. Strangely shaped maple leaf? It would be better if the maple leaf could be turned upside down, but I'm not going to do it. A screwdriver. Oh, you're thinking of the stem on the maple leaf. Perhaps so. Okay, I think that's right. Hey, do you guys want to see this view? You want to see me draw it this way? Or you want to see the monitor view? I think perhaps a monitor view is more reasonable. Make that bitmap. And now I'm going to go in here and clean up the hickeys. Yeah, I think monitor view is better. I'm just cleaning up all the junk. This junk that just happens. And just takes some time to clean up. But everybody does this, and if I was drawing in ink rather than pencil, I would probably have just as many hickeys to clean off. Some of these are eraser crumbs that I didn't remember to brush off. Here's an eraser crumb. So this is just housekeeping. Don't forget to fix his finger. I don't think this guy feels comfortable without a proper wiener. You think I should have drawn what was underneath the maple leaf just because I feel good to know that there's something underneath there? So cleaning up the junk. Not a lot of creativity here, but you know, necessary housekeeping. Some cartoonists don't clean up their junk. And when they're my cartoonists that I'm syndicating, that annoys me a bit. Why do I draw at such a high DPI? Well, what I'm going to do is drop it down to 400, but I like knowing that I've got good, clean, crisp lines, and I do keep a copy of the high DPI in case I want to do something different with it. But I'm going to drop it back to 400 DPI after I drop out the background white here and make it into layers. And then I'll get some nice nuance to the light lines that will be grayed out when it goes down to 400 DPI. I like 400 DPI because I do these 8 inches wide, but if you wanted to use them for a section front in a newspaper, if it was 200 DPI, which is what they usually say they want at the size they're going to print it, then it's no good for blowing it up for a section front or using it in some higher quality printing, which comes up rather frequently in paper use. And we've had some higher quality print jobs that we've lost because the artists have not chosen to save their work in high enough resolution. So that happened just recently. One of our artists, Adam Ziglis, who won the most recent Pulitzer Prize, got tagged to do to have one of his cartoons on a very prestigious French magazine cover. and he'd done it 200 DPI, and that just wasn't good enough for them to blow up, and he lost his magazine cover opportunity. Poco Loco Britches! If you draw something under the maple leaf, it should be an immigrant family huddled up in a hiding position. I guess Trump's... In that case, Trump was discovering that darn immigrant family, pointing them out. Do I want these lines to continue over there? Yeah, I think I do. What do I do? I've got to reattach Trump's finger. I moved things here. And let's reattach Ted's belly. Fill these lines in a little bit. Cruz looks like a gorilla down here. Monkey arms. You know, I debated earlier about how hairy to make him. And I'm kind of guessing that perhaps the male pattern baldness suggests that he's a hairy guy under his expensive suits. But I don't know for sure because there is no good photo scrap of naked Ted Cruz. Which is a frustration. Monkey arms work? Because he's a knuckle-dragging Neanderthal? Is that why they work? Perhaps it is. Okay, there they are. This is the finished line art at 1000 DPI. I think it pleases me. Oh, Lily, you're coming up with all kinds of good reasons for him to be hairy. I could have made him hairier still. He's wrong in the eye, isn't he? Let's fix that. This eyeball needs to be looking a little more that way, don't you think? Otherwise, he wasn't quite looking at us. He was looking in an odd direction. How's that looking? Yeah, I think that's right. So correct all the junk. Okay, now I'm going to make this into CMYK. Save as. .400 DPI. CMYK. Oh, are there 78 people watching now? Theo, are there 78 people? Suddenly I have a much bigger audience. Alright, I'm going to make a bunch of layers. And let's take this layer to the... Oh, let's unlock this layer. Take it to the top. And I'm going to select the white. Ginger. Okay, let's select the white. And delete. We'll put the white on the bottom layer. Oh, my page is at the top of the creative section. Oh, that's fun. I had no idea that was going to happen. Alright, I'm going to go in here and select the black. Okay. And I want it to be 100% K. And I find that if I delete and fill, I can get past some of the resistance in Photoshop to wanting to do that. That's something Photoshop doesn't really want to do. Let's go here. And I do have 100% K. Okay. Now the key to color in your cartoons is you want your black layer to be multiply so that the colors go underneath it. Now is when I will change the image size to 400 dpi. And this way I will get all of these nice black lines in the lighter parts to be a little softer and grayed out, and I will have this nice black line on top of all the colors that I'm going to be doing, with the colors running underneath them so that I don't have problems with the black lines filling or breaking up with poor registration in the newspaper. Since this is CMYK and the K channel is just exclusively reserved for my black lines here. Oh, looks like I forgot to fix that part of Donald Trump's neck. Let me go into there and fix that. Oh, let's give him a little bit of fix here. I was playing around with repositioning things, and I did not quite reposition the Donald, so let's get him right again. There, I think that's okay. A little bit of cred. Okay, so one problem that lots of cartoonists have that you'll see in poorly printed cartoons now and again is that you'll get this white halo stuff that's happening around the black lines because there's no color underneath the black lines, and that's what we fix with this this multiply option here for the black layer. And also having the black layer be 100% K instead of being that little bit of CMY and K that Photoshop wants to translate it into. That allows our lines to stay nice and crispy when we have all that terrible newspaper registration, because I am designing this for print rather than for the web, and if it was for the web, none of that stuff would matter. So anyway, that's my in the weeds reasoning for why I prep my cartoons like this. At 400 DPI, I find that when I'm finished with this and I scale it down, sometimes Creative Juice writes, that's overspray. I work at a print shop, although not a newspaper printing press. The same applies. Yeah. So we have like a standard size for our editorial cartoons, which is 3.5 megabytes, because we've kind of determined that when we, hello Plio D, when we email these out to editors, many editors take them by email. If we have them bigger than 3.5 megs, some of them have email that rejects them. If we have them smaller than 3.5 megs, we're not getting as much resolution as we'd like for those higher resolution kind of jobs, like the one I just described that the artist lost because he didn't do his cartoon in high enough resolution. So this is my compromise. I do 400 DPI, 8 inches wide, and if it's coming up a little bit bigger than 3.5 megs, I'll save it as a JPEG, and in worst case it gets down to JPEG 8 quality, and that's still plenty good. And I've got the black on the K channel for the CMYK JPEG, and a whole floppy disk. All right, yeah. Okay, anyway, that's all the rationale for how I prep my images. So here we are. We've got the nice black line. The light black lines are coming up as grayed down, but against that, clear. So now I can just put all the color in behind the black lines and not have to worry about the trapping and the registration, and everything is just going to be under there. And the black lines shall sit on top undisturbed as I do all this junk underneath it. So what color should I make this? I think I'm going to go with blue. Let's make it blue today. So say 48 0. That looks like a nice blue. We'll make it big and soft, and 15%. A little bit darker in here. Okay, I'm going to give it some white texture. I made my own textures. This be 70. Yeah, I have a kind of I made my own texture from a sponge, and I just I liked the feel of it. Did a few colors out of it and put a little bit of more blue here, spongy blue, and then I'll give them some brown on the ground. Okay, well, I think that's about as much as I'm going to do for the background. Vizulhas, nice to see you here. You can look back at my last video and you can see the whole process for my doing this drawing. Actually, at this point, I could put in the maple leaf. Let's do that. Let's go to the flag of Canada. And we will, oh, I like, I can just select the maple leaf like this. There she goes. Oops, don't need that one. Don't need that one. That's the one I need. Let's go here in this top layer and we'll drop in maple leaf. Alright, is that too big? Maybe it is a little big. It's not like I want this cartoon to be a compliment. Do you think that's too big, Chloe? Okay. Little smaller. Yeah, you like that? Right there. A little bit smaller. Okay. I'm gonna come in closer. Clueless male, you think he's got like a micro penis going on with this stem? Perhaps that's raises disturbing questions. Okay. Now I need to give them some real colors, some flesh tones. Let's go with, I'll just do the things you know how to do first. So I'll do Cruz's suit. I haven't decided what to do on the other things yet. He's got a CMY suit. That's going to make the black on the K level pop over the suit, which is nice. Let's make that a little bit blue. So it's making a little more sense, like it lives in the same world. Opacity, oh, okay, I need to do it down here. All right. Remember, if you're prepping your own cartoon, the key to prepping your cartoon is that you put your black layer on top and you select multiply for that layer. It's right up here. This layer is normal, but this layer is multiply, you see. And that's what makes all of the colors run underneath the black lines. And then when you do things like a gray, take care not to pick the percentage of K gray, but rather to go with that CMY gray, which you can't entirely be sure whether it's going to run warm or cold if it's depending on the printing. So I gave it a little extra bump of blue to make sure that it would run cold rather than hot, because he is living in a little blue environment here. Victorious. Yes, the nice people at Twitch seem to have put me in the featured spot. So it's nice to have some more people watching today. Just in case you don't know, I'm a newspaper editorial cartoonist, and my cartoons actually run in more newspapers than any other cartoonist. I'm in just about half of America's daily paid circulation newspapers. In fact, my cartoon is in USA Today today. If you took a look at USA Today, somehow I don't think people who come to Twitch do a lot of reading newspapers. But what can I say? And so just about half the newspapers. America has about 1,400 daily paid circulation newspapers. We have about 850 subscribers, but of those, I'd say about 700 are American daily paid circulation papers. So we're in just about half. Actually, the cartoon in today's USA Today is one I drew 8 years ago after the Iowa caucuses then. And it seemed to work for today, so I reposted it. So a lot of what I do when I'm planning how I color my cartoons is I feel like I've been burned so many times by lousy printing, and newspapers have some of the lousiest printing, that I'm trying to create a least common denominator way for doing this. And I know most of the cartoonists don't worry so much about this registration stuff, but those guys often have some just terrible print disasters happen to their cartoons. Yes, Lil Whapper, it's the one with Iowa and New Hampshire. My homepage, which would be darylcagle.com. Is that not coming up? Theo, are we having tech problems again? We do get a heck of a lot of hacker attacks because, evil regimes and despots don't like political cartoons. They can't take a joke, and, they're evil bastards. So let's get rid of that 5, just to keep it clean. So we have some just terrible hacker attacks. And a lot of my tech guy Theo's time is spent dealing with the hacker attacks. I had a big one yesterday. Evil despots have no sense of humor. Another thing about editorial cartoons, if you haven't thought much about them since you were in high school and forced to learn about them in social studies class, is that in America, editorial cartoons are not regarded as highly and are not as important to society as they are in other parts of the world. And which is, it's disappointing, but it makes us have much more of an impact on the rest of the world, which is nice. the rest of the world where they riot about editorial cartoons when they don't like what they see. Okay, I'm just going to come in and give hard flesh tone to Ted because I think I want it a little lighter than that. So you go places like the Arabic language countries, go to Egypt, and you'll see that just about every newspaper has a color editorial cartoon on their front page. The editorial cartoonist is like the most important voice in the newspaper. Don't see that in America. Pretty rare to see an editorial cartoon on the front page. Oh, I see I left a couple little hickeys here in the black layer. Clean that back up. I'm also not real good about naming my layers because I just freehand everything. I'm not doing the fancy masks and things like the comic book coloring artists do. This is really a pretty simple little thing that's going to be printed pretty small most of the places where it runs. Azulis writes, what do I think about Obama? Is he a good president? I don't like Obama. People call me a liberal cartoonist and expect me to like Obama, but, you know, Obama didn't send any of those evil Wall Street bankers to jail. None of them. Throw the economy in the dumper, throw a bunch of money at them. And I don't like that. I think that's a big reason why on the left end of things people don't like Obama. He's a disappointment. Didn't come through where we expected him to come through. I want those evil bankers to go to jail. I tell you, I've gone to demonstrations where these wonderful comic book colorists show how they do everything, and they are very good about naming their layers and keeping things in much better housekeeping order than I do. I do like Bernie, and I'm not as negative about Trump as people expect me to be. Boy, I hear from the foreign cartoonists they just can't believe Trump. They think he's the most awful thing, but I think you got to look at him in comparison to the other knuckle-dragging Neanderthal Republicans, and he doesn't look as bad when you look at him that way. What happened here? Okay, now I'm just going to come in and do a little... Sprudel says, I think Obama did some good things like Obamacare, which was a step in the right direction, but there certainly is valid criticism about him, like the NSA scandal and the drone strikes. Yes. Shouldn't Trump be orange? I'm going to give him orange hair, but he doesn't strike me as being a particularly orange-skinned kind of guy. He's not like a Boehner. D-Tweak writes, I find Trump amusing and wouldn't actually mind him being president. Life is boring and we need some Trump. Well, what worries me most about these other Republicans is their crazy religiosity, and I'm afraid they're going to be like George W. Bush and want to jump into the Middle East so that we can hurry up the apocalypse and bring Jesus back faster. And that worries me. But frankly, that doesn't worry me so much about Trump, because Trump doesn't seem to be such a religious nut. So that's one of the relative things I like about Trump. I suppose that's damning with faint praise, like him because he's not as much of a nut as he could be, but I think that's important. I'm gonna vote for whoever I think is the least likely to want to jump into somebody else's war. And to my way of thinking, that would have been Rand Paul, who dropped out today, so he's not a choice anymore. And Donald Trump, the least religious nutty of them all. And Bernie. I'm afraid that Hillary is going to be a hawk that wants to jump into every crazy thing, and that worries me. So I'm having some personal issues about what would happen if it turns out to be Trump versus Hillary, and I think Hillary is more likely to jump into those wars. At least Trump isn't ready to nuke Russia. He has some sense in that respect, writes Lily Bean. Sprudelel writes, sounded better when people were taking a huge amount of debt just for being sick. Talking about Obamacare, I guess. All right, give Trump just a little bit of darker shade. I don't do a lot of flesh tone, but I do want to give a little sense of three-dimensionality going on. Doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit. Now I'm going to give them another layer. I'm going to give them some lighter spots as well. So let's, I forget, did I? There, I picked. And let's make it a little bit lighter. And I'll come in with a little bit lighter. I'm not really trying to render the flesh tones, I'm just giving a little hint. Because when this prints in the newspaper, anything I do in the flesh tone is just going to gum right up and be really thickened. And you'll be surprised by how much this little bit of whitening actually shows up in the lousy newspaper printing. Lily Bean wants to add the orange tint. Orange tint to Trump, huh? You want him to be Boehner-y? I saw a funny cartoon another cartoonist did in our group that had him with an orange tint, but I'm not I'm not really seeing the orange tint. This is just going to be the lightest little hint of differing flesh tones, because I'm not committing to a lot of it. Now, another thing I like to do is come in and give them a little bit of pinking up. So let's make that 0.36, 42. All right. I'll put that on another layer as well, and we'll give that opacity of way down there so that I can feel a little comfortable with it. So pink up his ears. Everybody needs their ears to be pinked up. Give him a little bit of cheek. A little bit of redder nose, because that makes sense. A little more warmth under the chin. Cruz looks like a big hairy baby. He does, but even though we have no idea how hairy he is. Just this little bit of sense of pinkness here and there makes them look much more alive. Toes should be a little pinker. Oh, and please, everybody, please follow me on Twitch, because I'm really trying to build an audience here, and I'm just getting started. I don't think there are any other editorial cartoonists who live stream their cartoons at all. So I'm kind of being the trailblazer here among the old dinosaur newspaper cartoonists. And if you would, I would appreciate it. Please do follow me on Twitch. One thing that's kind of nice about being an editorial cartoonist is that in 8th and 11th grade, kids are required to take this social studies AP testing, and part of that testing is that they have to interpret an editorial cartoon. So reverse highlights around his eyes. Yes, he looks funny that way. All right. So I'm gonna give him a little more heavier darks here and there. Let's get those reverse highlights. So so the number one email I get is, "Dear Mr. Cagle, please explain your cartoon to me. My paper is due tomorrow." But that's nice. For all the terrible things I drew George W. Bush doing, he's the one who required the school testing in editorial cartoons. You know, if I was a carrot farmer and I could require every kid in the country to have to study and appreciate carrots, what a deal. So, something to love W for, huh? I don't want to do much more flesh tone than what I'm doing here, just because of the lousy printing. Okay, Trump's hair. with Trump's hair, is really kind of strange. And you know how little old ladies have blue hair? It's because their gray hair comes out orange like Trump's does. And they want to try to counteract that with the blue. And Trump's just lets his stuff go crazy orange. And it's not like he's a redhead. He's just got orange gray hair. Oops. Which in its way is a little bit nasty. So I want to give it a little bit of odd texture because there is an oddness to it. It's not like he has orange hair. He has this kind of odd deal going on. And then I'm going to give him a little bit more orange sponge highlights. Sprudel, you have English communication finals on Friday about American topics. Do you study editorial cartoons in your topics class? Oops, that was wrong. Let's step backwards. I didn't get the right button. There. See, if I had just entirely made it orange, it wouldn't be right. It needs that oddness to it. Well, thank you for clicking on my stream, Sprudel. Excuse me. I appreciate it. Actually, I think there is quite a large percentage of people who look at my cartoons because they are required to do so. Okay. Hot girl. Oh, you think I'm cute? Ah! Thank you, hot girl. Now, I think Cruz's hair is jet black, but I don't want to make it all black color because then I would lose the nice black line work that I've got on top of it. What color do we want for Cruz? For Trump's tie, I think I'm going to make it a color that you will ignore. So we're going to go with a kind of a very ignorable green color. because I want the eye to follow Trump's finger to the big red maple leaf and not be distracted by Trump wearing a red tie or something like that. Alright, the color here is really pretty simple. But when this is printed little in the newspaper, it's going to look like there's a lot more going on in it than there actually is. So I think that's going to be it. I think I'm just about done. Anything I'm forgetting? I could do a little bit of orange tone. Someone was asking for orange tone. That would be 24, 32. A little bit of orange tone. Try that, see if I like it. Wanted Trump to be oranger. Is that better? Does that suit you? I could put a tiny bit of that in here and there, just to make it look a little better modeled here and there. I could do a little bit of brown in Cruz's hairiness. Typically you want underneath necks to be oranger. That oranger. Because you figure the flesh tone is reflecting on flesh tone. Like they teach you in painting class. Get your reflecting light. What are you reflecting against? Which is kind of overkill for an editorial cartoon. Am I done? He could have a little extra line going here. Poco Loco Rich is right. Are you going to do any thin outline of the maple leaf, or would that mess up the printing? Do you think it needs it? I could. I hadn't really thought about it. It's not like this is something that comes up very often. Oh, I guess I should watch out for double entendres like that, huh? Oops, that was on the wrong layer. So, do I want an outline around the maple leaf? I don't think I do, because it's not. Well, let's take a look. Let's decide if I do. You got me thinking about that now. Let's go with that and add 100K. And we'll make it 55. Drop that down a little bit more. A little bit more. So then this would be like this. Is that better? What hardware am I using for my Photoshop work? I guess I haven't shown this for a few minutes. Here's my my Wacom tablet. This is me in position working on this. So you can see where I am with it. And other than that, I'm using an old copy of Photoshop CS4 and Mac Mini. I think it is a little better with that bit of a drop shadow. It makes it look like there's a sticker stuck there. So it kind of makes sense. So I think I do like that. Thank you for the advice on that. I'm going to give this just a little bit more blue too. Okay. I think this is done. I hate to give up this top premium spot, but you know what the hell, the art is done. So I'm gonna take this and email it out to 850 newspapers. And I'll probably save a grayscale version. In fact, I could do that right now. Let's do that. One thing I need to do when I do the grayscale is see if anything is holding up dark. So let's see what grayscale looks like. Don't merge. Discard color information. Yes, you see when I do the grayscale, it looks wrong that their flesh is so gray. So what I think I'm going to do for this is come in and lighten up the flesh tone so that it works in the grayscale. Sometimes you need to come in and futz a bit with the grayscale in order to make it look right, because stuff like flesh tone is going to come out looking wrong in a grayscale here. So I will do that. I'm going to clean up just the gray. otherwise this is just gonna look dark and wrong. Poco Loco Britches wants a quick lesson on drawing caricatures. You know, I've got streams of my other cartoons that you can look at, and a couple of them. I have one that I did every candidate in that was a lot of caricature. Oops. Why was that happening? Oh, it's because it's going on top of the maple leaf. Try this. Still on top of the maple leaf. Where did I put that maple leaf? Move it down there. I spend a lot of time struggling with the caricatures till I get them to a point that I'm happy with. As you will see if you want to look back on those older streams. See how it needed to lighten up to make sense looking in black and white, but it looked, even though it looked fine in color, it had to light up. When am I going to stream next? Oh, I'm not quite sure, but I am going to start putting up a schedule. So if you would please follow me, I think we can send announcements out to people. My basic plan now is I'm going to try to stream a live cartoon, which ends up taking all afternoon. Like each one takes about 5 hours. I'm going to try to do it on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 1 o'clock. And starting next, I think, Wednesday. And I'll probably pop in with a couple odd ones, and I announce them on social media and on where else do I announce them? I guess only on my Facebook and Twitter feed. But we're gonna have the schedule posted before too long, so should be easy to find. Anyway, thank you. Oh, my man Theo tells me we'll have the schedule up on Kaggle.com soon. So, hey, thank you so much. And I appreciate your sitting through this with me. And please, please, please go follow my my stream here on Twitch. I do appreciate that because I'm trying to bravely go where no editorial cartoonist has gone before, and I do appreciate your help and support. So hey, thank you so much. That will be the end of today's cartoon. Take a look for it in your newspaper day after tomorrow. And hey, thank you so much, and do follow. Thanks a lot.